Welcome to Talk About Topeka. I'm Chris Schultz here at the Topeka Performing Arts Center. This section is brought to you by The Break Room from downtown Topeka, and we're talking on our Connecting the Arts section with Brail Watson from Braillionaire. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, man. I am blessed, Chris. It's good to be here with you.
You know, you grew up here in Topeka, and I've been watching you. You know, as
I did.
You
have. It's great.
You've been, yeah, right. You've got outside your window. It's all anyway. But no, you've done a lot of things. And when we're talking about going back to when we were trying to get Google to rename themselves, like that's really the first time we ever met was when you actually wrote a song and performed it and made a video about trying to woo Google to come to Topeka, right?
Yeah.
And you've been doing some incredible things ever since then. You did great things before, great things since. Let's talk about where you went, what you did, and what you're doing now.
Well, I'm assuming you're talking about when I went to Spain.
Yep.
That was fun.
Any number of things. I mean, I follow you on Facebook. Like you're always somewhere cool doing something awesome.
Yeah, I guess the most recent thing I did was I was able to go to the Czech Republic to be a part of a festival called Musicians. Mm-hmm. And this festival focused on teaching in your own individual style. So the Czech Republic is a little behind in the world of pop music, but seeing as they housed one of my favorite composers, Antonín Dvořák, like they're very high in the world of classical music, and so they wanted to bring in these Western stars or these Western artists to teach more about styles like jazz and R&B and rock and roll and things like that. And so I was there with a number of artists like Mark Lettieri, Jordan Rudess, Simon Phillips, lots of great artists teaching by day and partying by night, sort of. And we got to do some awesome things and then be a part of a festival at the end there. So I was there for about 12 days, so that was awesome. That's
awesome. Yeah. I want to know what was the 10-year-old Braille like?
Very emotional.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a very touchy-feely person. I've learned the older I got and the darker I got, that scared people a little bit. So I touch people a little less now, but inside I'm always hugging. So if anyone is a hugger, come get them. I'm ready. I got you.
Very good.
Yeah. So no, I was very. I was a lot like I am now, except for untamed. So think of a very energetic dog, but just with no training at all. So just peeing everywhere, and that was kind of me. I was everywhere and trying to give everybody love all the time. So,
yeah, that's cool. And where did you go to high school at?
I went to high school at Topeka West.
Topeka West, and I know you did a lot of stuff there as you went through high school and to get to college. I mean, you did some great stuff in college too. Talk about that transition.
Yeah, so I was blessed. Actually, I lived in between the Highland Park and Topeka High districts, and so but because I had an IEP, because I had some actually learning disabilities. Because of a loophole, I was able to get free busing to go to school on the other side of town. And so they sent me to French Middle School. There I met Carolyn Voth and eventually Ms. Nancy Epic, rest in peace, who those two people actually were the ones who asked me to come to Topeka West because they taught there and they wanted me to be a part of that music program. They asked my mom. She said, "Do you want to go?" I said, "Do I still have to go to school?" She said, "Yes." So I was like, "I don't care, let's go." And so I ended up going to Topeka West, and from there, I was linked up with Dr. Stephen K. Elisha through Miss Carolyn Voth, who's one of the greatest cellists of our time. And he actually gave me free lessons because he believed in my talent. I was not a very good reader, but he believed that I had great talent if I could afford private lessons. And so he actually gave me lessons that allowed me to go to Washburn. So now to answer your actual question, sorry for so much context. So in Washburn, I was a part of the music department there, and so I got my bachelor's degree in classical voice and cello. So I sang in the operas, and I was a part of the string orchestra and symphonic orchestra, as well as the choir and the Washburn singers. And I did about the same stuff at Topeka West. At one point, we had two orchestras. I was in both of them, and I was in the choir.
So everything you can.
Yeah, I always did absolutely as much as I could. And so after that, I was blessed. I'm a praying man, and I heard God telling me that I needed to finish school. And so I told him, I was like, "Hey, if you want me to finish school, if you want me to get a master's, then I need to go to a place that allows me to do X, Y, or Z." And I was blessed to find a place that did X, Y, and Z, and then some, which was Berklee College of Music. And the program was at this place called Valencia. And I was looking it up, and I was like, what is a Valencia? And it was Valencia, Spain. And so I was like, all right, if you want me to get a master's, then I need to get into this school. And I did. And so I went to Spain to get my master's. And there, wow, that was quite the experience. But there, I was actually in some different groups with some of my teachers. I performed with some of my teachers, was able to build a fan base in Spain, was doing about 2 or 3 shows almost a week pretty regularly, and learned a lot about stuff that I had been doing on the side while I was studying classical music, because I'm a rapper and a singer, and so I learned a lot about those styles, and it was nice.
You know, and your educational path, of course, teachers. We've been talking a lot about teachers, and this year we did lose Mrs. Epic here, and so many. We had her memorial service here, a service for her here at TPAC, and there were so many people that came out, and so many people who came here from all over the place who started here that she believed in. And, you know, just maybe talk a little bit about, you know, your gratitude for that and the teachers that have helped you. I know I'm grateful, and I know I am who I am because I had great teachers in my life. Let's give a tribute to them.
Yeah. Being a teacher is one of the greatest things that you can do in life. And it doesn't matter what your profession is, taking the time to teach, mentor, disciple, however you want to quantify it, someone else, especially someone who's younger than you or children, is an immeasurable good to the world. Without the teachers that I was able to sit under, I would not be the man that I am today. And those are teachers at church, teachers at school, teachers from community centers. Those people really helped shape my life and the values that I had, with my mother, of course, who was a type of teacher in my life. And when they're gone, I mean, you see the resounding waves of their impact when they're gone. And that's what we got to see at the memorial for Miss Nancy Epic. I can still remember some of conversations that I had with her, good and bad, but that's how important she was to me. And I didn't even realize how important she was to the path that I took until she passed away.
Exactly, yeah.
There are things that I do today that I do because Miss Epic gave me an opportunity, or because Miss Epic recommended or suggested something. There are things that are a part of my life today because of her.
Gave you just a little bit of encouragement when you really needed it. You know, and you know, a very important woman. But so many educators out there really make such a huge impact in their students' lives. So
true.
Tribute to that. Thank you, educators, for what you do. Now, I want to talk just a little bit about your music that you've been producing lately. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yes. So right now, I'm really in this process. So music is a strange thing. You can make the greatest music in the world, and you can release it to the world, and no one know about it. It's like owning a donut shop, but you have the best donut shop in town, but it's in the worst location, so you don't really get the business, And so I've really been working on building an audience of not only friends, but fans, people who not only like me, but who like my music. And being that I make hip hop and R&B music, it's not the most popular music in Kansas. And so just learning how to really navigate and utilize the internet. Right now, I've been working on, for the last 5 months, I was doing a series called the B-Mix series, where I would take a popular song that was out in the world of hip hop, R&B, or just pop music. I've done some Ed Sheeran stuff. I would do a remix of it. Either I would change the production or change the lyrics, change the stylings, and release that version of the song. And so I work in the studio, I drop my family off, and then I work in the studio from 8 to 3 every day. And I would take a song on Monday, rewrite the song, produce the remix, record it, mix it, master it, shoot a video for it, and then edit that video and put it out every Friday. So every single Friday, I release music to social media, and all of those social medias are under Braillionaire, Brail with the second half of millionaire. So I've been doing lots of remixes. I just recently, as of the last 2 weeks, started a new series called the Letter B series, where I talk about things that are facing myself and other people that I come into contact with, things about racial reconciliation, things about loving the community, things about politics, but I like to deal with politics from a more personal standpoint than a political standpoint, how it affects us, the people. And so I'm writing letters. I'm writing a letter. So this week was a letter from JP, Joe the Plumber. So,
Nice.
So yeah, check that out.
Well, I'll tell you again. On Broadway there are manufactured plaques you can buy that say, "If you think your act is good, try it in Topeka." You know, and that's one of the things I've been so stubborn is working, on my stuff here in Topeka. I know the people that are here because they love. There are people here that they love, and that's what keeps them here.
Yeah.
It's also affordable to live. So for an artist who wants to be able to produce or work on something, it gives you the opportunity. If you're living in Southern California, you're going to have to go to work and go to bed and go back to work. There's not a lot of time to be creative in that process. So being here in Topeka, maybe mention as we close out, like what it's been like, having your ties to Topeka, and then still trying to produce music that may not be, as mainstream here, but you're doing it, and it kind of gives you the edge, right?
Yeah. So when I was, brief story, when I did a TEDx event in Valencia, we're sitting on a rooftop in one of the highest buildings in Valencia, and this guy who worked with President Obama is talking to me. So everything about this is high profile. And he goes, "Man, what are you doing after this?" I'm like, "Man, I'm going back to Topeka, Kansas to work in the community." And he goes, "Why? Do people do what you do in Topeka?" I'm like, "No, they don't, but that's why I need to be there." There are so many resources and opportunities. I think of Topeka as an open canvas because there are lots of resources. There's lots of paint. There's lots of space, but the space is blank. So there's not a lot to plug into necessarily if you're going into certain areas, but there's lots of resources to pool. And so you can do so many amazing things and find so many awesome people who may not necessarily be interested, but be interested in the results that you're looking for, who can help you. Exactly. And so that's been awesome. I have an amazing network of friends and family and co-workers here in Topeka, and a lot of them came out. I recently shot a music video called Tup Tim Tai at one of my favorite restaurants called Tup Tim Tai.
Mine too. Good stuff.
Yes, and that music video will actually be released on October 1st. So
Nice.
This upcoming Monday, I don't know when this will. Well, I do know when this will air. So it's out. Go check it out.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for all you do and in the community. Thank you for your hard work, and thanks for dropping by to tell us all about it today and catching up with us. So keep it up, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. We're going. That's Brail Watson with Braillionaire. Check him out at patreon.com/Braillionaire, or you can like him on Facebook, and well, you should do both of those things as well. So follow this guy, doing great work, and I really do appreciate you. You bet. And we do appreciate the Break Room for sponsoring this segment. So get on out to do that. From comedy shows to special events and private parties, the Break Room is Topeka's best place to gather to make memories with friends.
Truth.
So check it out at the Break Room. And we'll see you back here on the next episode of Talk About Topeka Live from the Topeka Performing Arts Center.